I'm Helen,
And I'm Liz,
and we're sisters
scientists,
and lifelong X-Files fans.
and this is We Want to Believe.
All right,
Okay,
let's begin
let's do
another
it.
episode. Yeah. Um, any announcements before we get started?
I don't think so.
I don't think I have any either.
Yeah, yeah,
Dog continues to do well. Oh, Helen,
yeah.
I didn't tell you this yet. I was telling Helen a few dog updates, but I didn't tell you this big exciting news. We have, and Helen knows this, but we have two stairs from our kitchen into out the sliding glass door into the yard. And so far, Archer has figured out how to go down, but can't get back up on his own. He's literally never climbed those stairs. He always jumps them entirely. And
Oh,
so he's never been good at stairs. The way he gets upstairs, or what he used to, was he would do a big jump to get started and then run real fast up the rest of them. So he's never been able to just climb stairs normally.
huh.
He's never known how. And so what I've been working on is, instead of just carrying him in, I set his front paws inside and put his back paw on the top step. So all he has to do is hop the back leg in, but it gives him some
Oh, yeah.
practice. And then today, while it's snowing, no less, I went to go pick him up to put him inside the house, and he just jumped in. And I was just like, oh,
Oh,
okay, we're doing that. So he just
oh,
went on his own. I was so pleased with him. So
oh, what a good
yeah,
boy.
he's a good hopping guy. Yeah, he can still be a
Oh,
leaping hound. So.
yes, yes, he can. That's
Um,
awesome. Good for him.
yeah, he's so good. Um, I don't think I have any other updates. Still no news on our possible Mars guest. I'm working on
Okay.
it. Um, yeah, I don't think I have anything. Um, yeah,
Do we
shall
have
I?
any updates about the listener who heard the voice say Bob?
No further voices.
Okay, that's good.
So, yeah, that is good.
Yeah.
Um, And I don't have a listener story per se. I mean, I guess technically I am a listener, but it's not supernatural at all. It's more that I have a story about myself that goes with some of the stuff brought up in today's episode.
Ooh.
So, yeah. And then also, while watching today's episode, I didn't take any notes. So,
Oh,
so we'll see how it goes.
okay.
I have like the Wikipedia thing there to refresh my memory. I just watched it last night and then this morning, so it's fresh in my
Oh,
head. And
wow.
I've seen this one before, but um
Okay. It's not familiar to me at all, I don't
okay.
think.
I have a feeling I probably didn't recommend you watch it because it's too scary. And it's
Oh,
scary in a way
ooh.
that you would hate it, or it would have at least back then. I don't know. It's very devil based.
Oh, then yes, I still would hate that. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is Die Hand Die Verletzt, which I never knew what it meant. I was never curious to find out what it meant. I don't know why. Like I just was like, oh, German words, I guess, and never looked into it. It translates to the hand that wounds.
Ooh.
Yeah, and it's immediately clear why the episode is called that. So I don't know why I didn't know that either. Because it
Hmm.
opens in a PTA meeting in
Okay.
New Hampshire, and there's
See, this is
five
why
five
I don't
people.
attend PTA meetings. That's
Yeah, I mean, look, I've never attended a PTA meeting. For all I know,
yeah,
this is standard.
sure.
They're talking about, oh, so and so wants to do Jesus Christ Superstar. Well, we can't have that in this town, which at first just seems like, oh, it's too scandalous. But then you'll see why they can't have it in this town. And someone else suggests Greece, and then the woman in the group is like, I think Greece doesn't it have the F word? And so they just seem kind of prissy or whatever. And it's five people. There's like, I think a science teacher, a guy in a suit, a woman, and a guy who looks kind of trackish. He's in like a track jacket. I don't know.
Hmm.
The guy in the suit who kind of seems like the head of things, I was like, who is that guy? I know that actor. Oh my God, I know that actor. And he seems kind of like the leader. He seems kind of buttoned up in his personality. I mean, he's in like a suit, and it's at a nighttime meeting, and it's, that's pretty formal.
Yeah.
Um, so I look at who it is. Well, I figure out who it is. He plays someone on a different 90s show in a very different role.
Hmm.
It's Bulldog from Frasier.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I was like, maybe I'm wrong. And I checked and it is. Yeah.
Oh,
So it's Bulldog from Frasier playing this like serious suit wearing responsible community member.
oh my gosh. Oh, that's really funny.
Yeah. And and so they end their meeting and they're like, we should end the meeting with a prayer. And somebody else is like, do we have to? And they seem kind of like, no, no, it's what we should do, you know. And
Hmm.
then they shut the door and then there's like a blaze of light you see kind of from inside the room. The camera's now outside the room.
Yeah.
And they start doing this satanic chant,
Oh God.
which contains the phrase, his is the hand that wounds, and then they repeat it in German. And so I'm like,
Oh
oh,
my gosh.
that's why they call the episode that. I don't know why I never picked up on that. This is
This is
a Wong and Morgan episode, who are kind of famous for writing stuff in the X-Files. They've
oh.
written a lot of the classic
Oh,
episodes.
really?
Yeah,
Oh.
Wong has gotten mentioned before because oh, what episode was it? There was so I don't remember now, but one of the season 1 episodes, there was a character, it might have been the ones with the Eves,
Oh,
uh
uh-huh.
where one of them had a name, one of the girls had a name and it was spelled in an unconventional way, and I looked it up and it was named after Wong's wife.
Oh. Oh, okay.
Rings a bell.
Oh, huh.
But anyway, they wrote a lot of the later episodes that were pretty famous. Like I want to say they might have written Jose Chung's from Outer Space, but I
Hmm.
also am not 100% sure, so we'll see if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Anyway, I interrupted you. What were you going to say about it before I mentioned Wong
Oh,
and Morgan?
just that this is all very early 90s already. I mean, just the whole satanic panic and, worrying
Yeah,
about the kids and the, evil influences. And I don't know,
yeah,
already it just has very 90s vibes, in my
yeah.
opinion.
I mean, absolutely. Although some of the nonsense that gets brought up about satanic panic stuff also reminds me of some of the absolutely insane like QAnon shit. Like,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
like, I'm like, anybody who's like, oh, Beyonce is bathing in blood or whatever. Um, I'm like, that's not really that different.
Yeah.
So then we go to the opening of the episode, and
Hmm.
it was a pretty quick cold open. And then we go to there's like 4 teenagers who are going into the woods, and they have kind of a like, I don't know, the guys have kind of a, I don't know, Jay and Silent Bob vibe, if you will,
Hmm.
long
Yeah.
hair and whatnot. And so it's 2 guys and 2 girls, and they're like, oh, this is where the sacrifices are. We're gonna do some magic Satan stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
And it seems kind of clear that it's just that the guys want to get the girls alone in the woods, and not in necessarily
Mm.
a super sinister way, more in a like, oh, maybe they'll be afraid and cling to us, or maybe,
Okay.
like,
Sure.
not evil, but not
Right.
great
The
either.
same
I don't know.
reason why I would always suggest watching scary movies on first dates that were going well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, and so they one of the boys has a thing copied out of a book or ripped out of a book with, and it's that same creepy devil thing that the PTA was reading. And
Uh-huh.
so he starts reading that, and all of a sudden there's like flashes of lightning and it's scary. I think there might be like a rats around, kind of just
A
running around.
rat?
I think there's rats, yeah, in the
Oh,
forest.
okay.
Um,
I think there are rats in the forest. I mean,
yeah,
that
yeah,
tracks.
I guess. I just found out the squirrels live in nests, like in
Wait,
trees.
you just found that out?
Yeah,
What did you think they did?
I thought they
That they
lived.
lived in like cute little burrows with like
Yeah.
cups of tea
Well,
and
no, and I didn't think about the tea, but
little
I kind of,
sweaters.
what I pictured was that they'd maybe live like behind a bush, like, like just kind of like hanging out behind a bush, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, they have
No.
nests in
Yeah.
trees.
I had no idea.
Oh, wow.
So yeah.
How'd you find
Thank
out?
Mom told me. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sure.
She had a similar reaction to you, you know? She
Yeah.
was like, but I mean, hers was also, Liz, I have had squirrel nests in my trees multiple years. Did you ever notice them? And I was like, no, I mean, I notice very few things, I guess,
I
but
mean, to
I
be
had no
fair,
idea. How
I
are they,
sometimes
what are they doing up there? Like birds? They're like birds.
kinda. I can't always tell the difference between a squirrel nest and something nefarious, like a wasp nest or something.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know. I usually can, but I don't know. They don't look distinctive enough to me. So I'm defending the fact that you didn't
Okay.
know
Thank you.
that, like, oh, that's a squirrel nest. You probably just saw a nest.
Okay.
It's not like they, make them all squirrely. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I'm still pretty shocked.
Yeah. I don't know. I was kind of thinking you might also be surprised, but I guess
Oh,
not. Yeah.
no. I mean, I am a
Who knows?
biologist.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah. You probably learned about it in like
Yeah.
Small Animal Homes 101 or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I did.
Did you learn about squirrels in particular in any of your classes?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Okay.
I took a cool class in college called The Evolution of Behavior, which was really neat. And we talked about all sorts of different animal behaviors. So like, the bee dance and
Hmm.
stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't remember anything specifically squirrel based. And that would have been the only real time I would have.
Oh,
What I
you
know
did
mostly about
learn.
squirrels comes from ologies. Is that what you were going to say?
No,
Oh,
that you took Ojibwe as a language and you learned the word
yeah,
for squirrel. Isn't
yes,
it
a ginimo,
Agitimo? And
a ginimo.
Agitimawug is squirrels?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that stuck with me.
yeah, yeah,
So
that's true. So I did learn some squirrel based things.
stuff in college. Yeah.
Yeah. hmm
Um,
Rats probably live
rats
in the
though.
forest.
Do they? I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Mice live in the forest.
The point is a figure appears and one of the
Sure.
boys runs off and he's killed. And that is
Oh,
why Mulder and Scully are brought in.
I see.
And the only evidence they have is that paper ripped out of a book. And
Mm,
they can see there's kind of a library stamp on it and that it ends in the word in America, that's the title, like ends in that. And so
mm,
they go to the library to do some research and they find that it came from a book called A History of the Occult in America. And they look at who checked it out most recently. And then we flash to a high school where the remaining boy and the two girls are in class and they're looking very disturbed and they're being quiet
sure.
about it. They're not admitting they were there in the forest that night. And they're in science class and they have a substitute teacher named Mrs. Paddock who reminds me a lot of, did you ever have Mrs. Moss in junior high?
Gosh, that name is familiar.
Maas. Must be
Now my
Dutch, I'm
head is
guessing.
just going to Sarah J. Maas, the author that I
Oh
love.
yeah. I
Um,
didn't think about that being the same name.
but
She was kind of tall and thin
maybe.
with brown hair and glasses.
Yeah, that's
Um,
vaguely familiar. Uh-huh.
yeah, I don't know if I ever had her as in class, but I was aware of her. But this woman looked a lot like her.
Oh,
Um,
interesting.
yeah, and it made me so I wanted to double check that was the name of the teacher I was thinking of. So I got out my old yearbook this morning, and I
You
also
have
then
your
saw,
junior high yearbook still?
yeah, why would I get rid of them?
Wow. I never
Yeah,
got mine.
you didn't?
No.
Oh. Yeah, I have all of junior high and high school, and we have Adams as well.
Wow.
And
Wow. No,
yeah,
I didn't want them from what I recall.
well, I mean,
Um, no, maybe I did in junior. I don't know. It's not important, but that I certainly don't have them.
yeah, I have them easily accessible on a shelf.
Wow. Cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Was that and that was
Yeah, so it was Mrs. Moss, but the point is I also saw Mrs. Pleviak in there, who you would never have had because I think she just taught there for a year. I had her for seventh grade English. She was amazing. She was a wonderful teacher. And I remembered her first name was Pamela, and I decided to Google her this morning, going down a little rabbit hole or squirrel nest or whatever. And it turns out she is now a love astrologist. And I was
oh.
like, is this the same person? Oh, it is. And she talks about after her long background in education, and she's done all these retreats about astrology. And I was just kind of like, oh, well,
Oh man,
it's
and
not my scene.
Really
She was a
good teacher.
wonderful teacher. Yeah.
Oh
And I
man.
mean, it's not like
I mean,
they're
I was
mutually exclusive. It's more
right.
that I guess now instead of teaching, she's astrologing. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and I
Yeah.
like people getting out of education, I get because
Yeah.
we treat our
Yeah.
teachers terribly.
Yeah.
But I don't know that, you know, if you're underpaid, I don't know that love astrology would pay you. I don't know.
Yeah, it was bizarre and I was
I
like, "Oh,
don't
this
have the
can't be the
market on
same
that.
woman," but it is. So that, as somebody who's not into astrology, I was kind of like,
Yeah.
eh, eh. Yeah, I mean, it could be a lot worse, but it was still kind of
Yeah.
weird.
But didn't you study astrology in grad school? I'm kidding.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Astronomy, everyone, just to be real clear, that was astronomy. Although, as I
Those
think
are
I've
different
brought
things.
up on here, I did once have a girl on the first day of a basic astronomy class that I was teaching ask when they were going to learn about the zodiac and the different signs. And I was like, oh, well, we are going to learn about constellations a little bit. So, um,
I've had people ask in anthropology classes when we're going to learn about Bigfoot.
yeah.
So,
Wow.
yeah, that's
I
always
love the
fun.
idea that that's like in your like lesson plans or whatever.
Syllabus.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, like I got to make sure I get to Bigfoot by November, to stay on track.
I should start including it. Yeah.
You should be like, no, he's the missing link, guys. We don't have the information yet. I can't teach about him. Yeah. Um, yeah, or you could be like, if everyone gets like a certain grade, like a certain like high enough average on the unit exams, and at the end you'll tell them about Bigfoot. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So there's
So
this
there's a
teacher.
teacher.
Yeah, Mrs. Paddock looks a lot like Mrs. Moss. That's all. Kind of short brown hair, glasses, kind of frumpy. I don't know.
Okay.
Um, very 90s flowery, shapeless dresses. Um, and I don't know. We see her. She seems a little bit weird. I don't know. And then we see the students. Okay, so they're in class, and then Mulder and Scully interrupt the class to call out the name of the other boy, the remaining living boy, who tries to climb out the classroom window, which is not a good plan. They catch him
No.
easily, and they
Sure.
bring him in, and the two girls go with him. And then it is around then, I'm not sure if it's exactly that scene, that oh, I forgot to mention something. When they found the body of the boy, the
Hmm.
eyes and the heart were removed. So
Okay.
that's got, sinister occult stuff. And
Sure.
like the sheriff they talked to kind of said like, well, everybody knows there's like devil worshippers in this town. There's like all these rumors about it. Um, and so we see that the substitute teacher has the eyes and heart in a drawer in her desk.
Oh,
So
yikes.
yeah, yeah. Oh my God, and I forgot something else. Sorry. See, this is because I didn't take notes. When Mulder and Scully are out in the forest and they're looking at the crime scene, it's raining. They both have umbrellas, and Scully's like, I don't know. I think this is just a standard murder. I don't think this is an X-file. And then it starts raining frogs.
Oh,
And
you forgot that it rained
I forgot
frogs.
that it rained frogs. Yeah. And Mulder's
Whoa.
like, all right, so should we go get some lunch? And Scully's like, Mulder, it just rained frogs. And he's like, oh yeah, didn't you say this is just a standard case? So it's got sort of like a campy vibe at that point that I was
Oh, okay.
enjoying,
Okay.
like
Yeah.
with the PTA doing the devil worshipping stuff
Hmm.
and the frogs, and like it's creepy, but it's still kind of playful.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
but it gets creepier and creepier, which I did not
Oh,
remember. Like this
huh.
episode gets darker and darker. And I mean, I think it's well done. I just didn't remember that aspect of it. They talk to the boy who admits that yes, me and the girls were with him. We like the reason we didn't come forward is because we're scared of whatever we unleashed. Like we're
Okay.
scared we unleashed a demon.
Hmm.
Um, and other thing noteworthy is that when Mulder and Scully are at the school grounds, they go back into the science classroom and they notice that the drains in the sink are swirling the wrong way, Mulder says, which they shouldn't swirl counterclockwise due to the Coriolis effect. Turns out he's wrong about this. Not within the episode. I'm telling you he's wrong. The drains aren't doing anything weird, but they say they are in the episode.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
wait, so how, like, he says they're swirling one way, but they're actually swirling the other?
Well, he says they shouldn't be swirling counterclockwise, but actually they should, and that's totally normal. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know. I think it's
Do you
just
want
a
to
mistake.
give a 1 or 2 sentence explanation of the Coriolis effect?
I don't, because I don't remember enough about it to do a good job, and I don't
it's
feel
just
like
that like the water below the equator spins the opposite direction, right?
I mean, I'm not sure that's actually true. That's what I recall, is that people think that's true, but I'm not sure if it is. It is on the Coriolis force is listed as one of the fictitious forces.
What?
Which, you're familiar with another fictitious force, actually.
Centrifugal?
Yes. Yeah, the centrifugal force is fictitious. Centripetal force is real. So if you're thinking, is it just spelling? No. Here is what it is. When you are driving in your car and you're going on to like an on-ramp or an off-ramp where you're curving, you feel a pull to the outside of the car. That is a fictitious force. You are not being pulled to the outside of the car. The real force is the force towards the inside of the curve in the opposite direction on your car, and your body is just trying to go straight because of inertia, and therefore you feel like you're being pulled to the outside.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, and so it's another word I see that they use here is inertial forces, that because of your inertia wanting to go straight, you feel that force outward. I just remember having a professor in college who said, the centrifugal force is a fake force. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. And with a lot of passion.
See, and as I was saying recently, I've taken 5 physics classes. So, I mean.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You have taken 5 physics classes, of course.
I have not passed all of those. That's the subtext there.
Yeah. And so I should clarify, I'm refreshing myself now. It is true that just with the Coriolis effects, it is different, that winds and currents tend to flow in different directions north and south of the equator. However, on the small scale of water in a bathtub or a toilet, the Coriolis effect is so small compared to all the other influences on the rotation that it doesn't really affect it. That's what I was recalling as, no, it's not really true. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So, yeah.
Okay. So Mulder is wrong.
Kind of wrong. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So then we flash back to the group of not flashback, but we go to all of the Satanists on the PTA, and they're like, who killed that boy? Was it one of you? Was it you? Was it you? Like, they're all suspecting each other. And then they're like, do you think it's something else? Like, do you think that, like, this is because we haven't been devout enough? Like, they're not being good Satanists, and they're worried that, like, they're being punished for it because they've been kind of like phoning it in as far as their Satanism. And they're like, we haven't done a sacrifice in a really long time or any of our rituals. Like, maybe
that's so funny to me that they're like putting such obvious Christian guilt onto.
Yeah. And I think like that's the intention in the episode. And I think it's pretty good that like, that's what is going on here. So the guy who is played by Bulldog, Jim, I had to look up his name real quick. He still suspects that it's one of the other people, and he's real suspicious of the group members, but the rest of them are like, no, I think it's an outside force. And then there is, back in science class, there's one of the girls who's in the forest, her name is Shannon, and they're doing fetal pig dissection. I don't like it. I mean, when we had to do it in biology class when I was in college, I think I've told you, my professor looked at me and said, look, you're clearly not doing anything. Why don't you just help me pass out papers? And I was like, yeah, that sounds good. So Shannon has like a total breakdown, and she runs out and like freaks out, and Mulder and Scully go to talk to her. And this is, I think, where the episode gets kind of darker, because she delivers this long monologue where she's like, I just had all these memories kind of come flooding back. Like she had repressed memories or whatever.
Oh.
And she's saying like, my stepdad, because she gets upset in the classroom and they say, oh, we're going to call your dad to come get you. And then she really, really flips out and she's like, no, my dad, abused me. And she tells this long horrifying story of abuse, and then she's like, and he had me take part in all these satanic rituals with all these other people, me and my sister. They murdered my sister when she was 8 years old as a sacrifice, and I had to have multiple babies, and they kill the babies, and it's all of this.
Whoa.
It's horrible, but it's so out there that it's like,
Right.
I mean, it sounds like all those stories of like Satanic Panic where you're like,
Right.
this
Right.
can't be real. And indeed, it's not. I'll just tell you right away. Mulder and Scully go to talk to her mom, and she's like, no, Shannon has never been pregnant. And, she did have a sister who died, but she died when she was a baby of SIDS, not,
and
not
is
as
that
an 8-year-old.
like true? Like, do we find out later that like
Yeah,
her mom is lying, or
no,
that
her mom is not lying. It is confirmed that Shannon did not have these things happen to her. And we do kind of find out what the deal is a little bit later.
Okay.
But Shannon believes it.
Right.
And so then we see that her stepdad, the one in question, is Bulldog, is Jim, this PTA guy. And he's horrified by the implications, and he's like, no, I love Shannon, like that's absolutely not true. But Shannon had mentioned, but it was all happened in this basement with this dirt floor, and Mulder kind of sees that they do have a basement that kind of looks like that, but at the same time a lot of the stuff she was saying couldn't possibly have been true. And then I can't help it, Bulldog, I'm just going to call him that.
Sure.
Bulldog gets angry and kicks Mulder and Scully out and is like, this is not okay. How dare you insult me like this? Whereas I feel like I understand
way to be
being
suspicious.
I know, I understand being insulted, but also, I don't know, they would not be doing their job if they didn't investigate accusations of abuse like that. Like,
right. Yeah.
come on, you know? So, Shannon is going to redo the pig, dissection by herself to still get credit. She's like, no, I'm going to do this. I can handle this.
Just give her an alternative assignment, man. Like,
well, it's clear that the Mrs. Paddock is up to something. Remember, she's got a heart and eyeballs in a drawer.
That's right.
And so she offers to take Shannon's charm bracelet for her while she does the dissection, because Shannon is alone in this room, and Mrs. Paddock goes into her office with the bracelet and then holds the bracelet over a candle and starts doing all this weird. It was described as, because I had captions on, because, so the reason I didn't take notes is that I was taking a bath. So for part of it, I didn't, but I put on captions so that I could hear well, and it's described as repeated grunting. Grunting intensifies because as she's like doing this spell, and her eyes are getting all creepy. And then Shannon, you don't see it, but Shannon looks at the scalpel, and then all of a sudden there's blood all over, and Shannon is dead.
Well, I was going to say, and I doubt this is just like an accident. I'm sure this has to do with, the spookiness of the episode. But like this, biology teacher 101, you don't leave students alone with scalpels. Like that's you don't just leave a student alone with a scalpel in a room. That's basic science safety.
Yeah, it seems really straightforward to not do that. Yeah. And so at that point, Shannon is dead. The Bulldog is very upset. The PTA devil worshippers meet again, and the rest of them are like, hey, we can blame all this on Shannon. She's dead now. No harm. We can say she's the one that killed that boy. Yeah. And Bulldog is not okay with this. And so Mulder goes back because Bulldog and his wife are going to stay elsewhere. So he's like, I'm going to go investigate the house. And Scully's like, I'm going to try to find out more about this teacher, this Mrs. Paddock, because it's kind of weird. the guy that she took over for, because she's a sub, he
Hmm.
had not he'd taken 2 sick days in an entire 15-year career, and all of a sudden he's sick, and it's okay, necrotizing fasciitis? Is it the flesh-eating bacteria? And
Yeah.
Scully's like, so that's not normal.
No.
Um, so she's like, I'm gonna investigate her and stay behind and do some research on like the school's computer with the black and green screen.
Oh,
Um,
funny.
yeah. Um, I will mention earlier on, there's like a side note when they're talking about the occult and like how they want to blame devil worshippers for stuff. That Mulder and Scully look at some account where it's very, very similar language, except it's blamed on Jewish people, and it is writing from
Ah.
Germany in the 30s, and they're talking about how like um, how similar uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Conspiracy theories against minority
Mm,
groups. And I was
yeah.
just like, yeah, okay, good that they're acknowledging this. Although, except
Right.
here, they actually are devil worshippers, but they're not. Well, okay, we'll get there. We'll get there.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
so Mulder is in the basement alone at the house of these people.
Uh-huh.
And it is creepy looking down there, and it's dark. And then all of a sudden, there's Bulldog in the darkness waiting for Mulder. And it
Ah.
seems like, oh God, he's going to attack him. But no, he is waiting there in the dark. That's normal. To confess and say, I was so appalled by the other people wanting to blame my daughter,
Hmm.
that I'm going to tell you everything and I'm going to name
Ah.
all of them. And he's like, yeah, we're all devil worshippers. Here's what happened with the rituals. Shannon witnessed them as a child. A lot of kids would. And what they do is, oh, Archer is rolling on his back again. He's so good. He's a good boy. I'm sorry, I can't help it. He's so good. He's a very
He
good
is.
boy. He's a good boy. Um, so he's like, she witnessed them. She was not participating in anything. There was never any abuse, but we put like hypnotic spell on our kids who witness stuff so that then they kind of gradually remember stuff when they become 18 or 21 and they can decide if they want to join the religion.
Hmm.
Okay. And he's like, so somehow, and I don't know how, he says, she got those memories tangled up with all of these like satanic panic fake abuse stories, and it all came
Hmm.
out. And it seems that's true. That like
Okay.
she took some of the
Okay.
like common narratives in media, but like, but how did
Mm.
that happen? It seems clear Mrs. Paddock was involved in making her have these memories come out.
Ah. Okay.
Um, Mulder is talking to Bulldog in the basement when we see that Scully is at the school in the dark doing her research alone. There's a power outage at the school, probably caused by Mrs. Paddock. In the dark, Scully drops her pen. Mrs. Paddock steals the pen and then uses it to do another one of her creepy candle rituals. And instead of attacking Scully, what she does is calls Mulder and on his cell phone, which he has a cell phone. And it sounds like Scully, and her voice is breaking up. And she's like, "You need to come back to the school. I need help." And at that point, Mulder handcuffs Bulldog in the basement so he can't go anywhere because I guess
Hmm.
they have committed crimes, but it doesn't really seem clear to me what, to be honest
Yeah.
with you.
Right.
Um, and he goes back to the school. And the long and short of it is a big giant snake eats Bulldog.
Oh, gosh.
Yep. And
Like Jafar and Aladdin at the end?
yes.
Okay.
Yes, like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Um and then we see all that's left in the basement is like a weird looking human skeleton that the snake spit out and
Hmm.
some snake skin. And so Mulder talks to Scully, and Scully's like, "No, I didn't call you. I don't know." So they go back to the
Mm.
house and they find the skeleton and they find the snake skin and they're like, "Oh, something's weird." And you see Mrs. Paddock has like snake eyes for a moment. Ooh. Um, and they go back to the school. They see also we see that the remaining PTI members are like, we got to do something. We haven't been devout enough. We have to prove like we're clearly being tested. There's something evil here. Um, we need a sacrifice. And it's unclear to me at first what they're going to do for a sacrifice until the guy says, I think Mulder's on to us, but that'll make the sacrifice even more powerful. And I'm like, oh, they're gonna sacrifice Mulder and Scully.
Okay.
So Mulder and Scully go back to the school, and the PTA is like waiting for them, and they like knock them out and tie them up, and they're like in the hallway, and they're gonna like stab them, and one of the guys has them at gunpoint, but then all of a sudden we see Mrs. Paddock doing one of her creepy spells over a candle, and the guy with the
Hmm.
gun just kills everybody else instead.
Whoa.
And Mulder and the Scully are suddenly freed. And then the
Huh.
power comes back on, and then they see written real big on the chalkboard in the science room, "It was lovely working with you," or something like that. And that's
Okay.
it.
And
So,
that's it.
and that's it. So Mulder and Scully never truly suspect Mrs. Paddock. I mean, Scully looks into her, but can't find anything suspicious in her background. So
Hmm.
they're kind of tricked.
Huh.
They kind of don't know.
But she saved them,
She
it seems.
saved them, it seems, but I don't think it was
Okay.
so much to save them as it was to punish the other devil worshippers for being bad
Mm.
devil worshippers. So
Ah.
basically, she's like the devil or a devil or an
Hmm.
associate or employee of the devil who's like, these devil worshippers are doing a bad job with their worship, so I'm gonna come take care of things. And because she even says something like, there's no saving them. Like they're not redeemable. They're too crummy, I guess. So yeah, and it's like, it's weird because it has these kind of ridiculous elements, but then these really dark elements too. So I don't
Hmm.
know. It was a
Okay.
weird episode. Yeah.
Wow. Huh.
Yeah. So you never saw that one?
No, I don't think so.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's very Satan-y, but it's not.
It doesn't sound particularly like, I mean, some of the other ones, like we've talked about, like the next one with Dwayne Barry, or no,
Yeah.
no, not Dwayne Barry. Donnie Faster.
Donnie Faster. Yeah.
Yeah. Is way
That's
more
way creepier.
right. This sounds more campy.
Yeah, it's
Hmm.
it's scary, but
Hmm.
it's not scary in like it's more unsettling and dark.
Uh-huh.
And it's like it's talking
Yeah.
about some really grim stuff, some terrible
Right.
things happen, but it's not like something where you're going to be afraid for yourself or something like
Although I
with
am
Donnie Faster.
alone in a science building by myself right now.
That
So,
is
I mean,
true. Do you have any candles in your office?
no, I don't. That
Okay,
would
that's
be
good.
not allowed.
Uh, I got some fake candles for my office that are very convincing. They even do like the flickering.
Oh, yeah. One of
Um,
my colleagues has some of those in hers. I could go
yeah.
get them
Well, could you
from
actually?
her
Do you have
office.
keys? Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah. I'm not going to, but yeah, I
oh,
could.
but I mean, like you have keys to other people's offices?
Yeah, our key for our office works for all of the biology offices.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean,
Huh.
it's good. I have good colleagues.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
That's
And
really
like, oh, I
weird.
mean, occasionally that's really helpful though. If like in February when I had COVID, I was like, oh my gosh, now I need my laptop and it's in my
Oh
office.
yeah, yeah.
And so, one of my colleagues was able to go get my laptop for me.
Yeah, for
Also,
sure.
sometimes people will come into my office for chocolate. Sometimes I'll go into my colleague Rachel's
Wow.
office for different kinds of chocolate.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
Wow. I do not have that, and it has been a pain because I've gotten better. There's a long stretch of time where I was locking my keys in my office about once a week,
Oh man.
and it was a
Yeah,
real
it's also
pain.
really nice for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, because occasionally one of us will do that as well. And then
Wow.
Zach has keys to everything in the building.
Wow.
Yeah,
Everything.
everything. Yes, he can go anywhere in the science center.
Does he ever go any weird just because he can?
I don't think so. I think he's
Like, is he in your ceiling right now? No, he's probably with your kids.
yeah, yeah. I think he's at the YMCA at the
Oh,
moment.
okay. That's just what he wants you to think.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he has all the power as far as the limited amount of
Neat.
power
Okay.
goes.
Yeah.
Um,
So a few other things I wanted to
okay.
mention about that
Yeah.
episode was just some stuff I looked up about repressed memories.
Oh, yeah.
I read an interesting study. It was in a journal just called Memory.
Hmm.
And it's from 2022, and it's called What Science Tells Us About False and Repressed Memories.
Hmm.
It's by Henry Otgar, Mark Howe, and Lawrence Pitius. It looks very legit. I don't know. They're
Uh-huh.
scientists in the UK and the Netherlands and Belgium.
Mm.
Um, and so they're kind of doing an overview where like they differentiate between unconsciously repressed memories, things that we try to forget, and then things that you don't actually ever forget, and then things that are false memories. So like
Interesting.
what they find is that it's pretty easy to like looking at all of the different studies to implant false memories. That
Right.
on average, when they do these experiments where they try to implant false memories, about 30% of people are successfully tricked into thinking they're real.
Wow.
Yeah. And I mean, the examples they give, they said that like with negative things, they seem to stick even better.
That makes
Um,
sense. Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
And so they give examples, and they're clearly like, they mention in the article, like, you can't try to trick people into thinking really terrible things, but you
Hmm.
got to test it. So they'll be like, you once got your finger stuck in a mousetrap. You were in the hospital. You got lost at Disney World. And then there's other like neutral or nice things like you took a hot air balloon ride. And there's been all these different studies. They also found that because I guess one of the things about abuse accusations and stuff is like they were like, well, if somebody claims it's repeated, like in a lot of these satanic panic cases in the 80s, they're like, maybe that's harder to implant. And they found that, especially with kids, no, that's not the case. You absolutely can
Ah,
trick people into thinking something happened repeatedly.
whoa. Wow.
Yeah. Um, so it seems like we can absolutely create false memories. The issue they bring up is that when doing surveys of what people believe about the possibility of repressed memories, is that huge amounts of people believe that bad memories can be unconsciously repressed. And the problem
Right.
with this is that then if clinicians and therapists believe that, they could
Right.
be accidentally planting things in people's minds.
Ah, okay. And what do the data say about the, amount that happens? Did they mention that? Do you know what I'm
Amount
asking?
of actually fake
Yes.
memories or whatever.
No, no, no. The
This,
amount of memories that are actually repressed. Like how often that
oh,
actually
I mean,
happens.
almost never.
Oh,
Almost
wow.
never. Yeah. Unconscious, actual, like you don't choose to repress it. It just, your brain represses it for you.
Right.
Almost
Right.
never.
Oh,
Um,
wow. Okay.
what they have found though is that there can be a little bit of haziness because people can also be talking about repression of memories when you just try to forget something. And if you try to forget something, they're like, look, we need to do more studies about this. But we found that if you like, you tell people a list of words and you say, try not to remember these, people actually can not remember them. Like,
Huh.
and so I thought I might do an experiment with you real
Ooh,
quick on
okay.
these notes. Nothing
Sure.
scary. Okay.
Okay.
So I need to,
I was
I'm
never
gonna
lost at Disney World. I'll tell you
no,
now.
it's not. I'm not going to try to implant false memories. I'm going to see if I can get you to remember certain things and forget others.
Ooh, okay.
Okay. All right. I need just a moment of prep. I am so sorry. So just give
Oh,
me
that's
one
fine.
second here. Um,
I've actually worried about this before. I've actually been anxious
yeah.
about the potential of having repressed memories. And I've talked to my therapist about this and she told me, she's like, yeah, no, that's not actually really a thing. People don't actually really subconsciously repress stuff.
Yeah.
You're just anxious.
Yeah. I've worried about getting false memories myself. Like I've told my stepkids, if you're ever accused of a crime, don't let them implant memories on you of having committed it. Because I read this
Yeah.
story in Oprah once where that totally happened.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like,
Especially with kids, from
yeah.
what I understand.
hmm Um, okay. We are ready for our game.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, so to refresh, actual repressed memories almost never exist. People can try to make themselves forget things, but in general, when something traumatic happens, people remember it, is what
Right.
multiple studies show. People remember it real well.
Right. It's just
Even if
pieces
they,
of it that are foggy or
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah.
so they're like, there's still work to be done on this. And people consciously trying to forget things. That's where we need to do research. And so you and I will do a little
Okay.
research. I'm going to read you a list of words. I
Okay.
want you to do your best to remember the animal words and forget the non-animal words.
Okay.
So if it's not an animal, don't remember that I said it. So
Okay.
I'm going to
Only
read
remember the
you,
animals.
only remember the animals.
Got it.
And then what I'm going to do is we're going to talk a little bit more, and then I'm going
Hmm.
to ask you to try to repeat everything that I said. But I want,
Okay.
and you're going to have to do your best.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to read this list to you now.
Okay.
Okay. Elephant, sea lion, house, carp, tree, rocket, giraffe, broccoli, lion, rocking chair, snowsuit, dog, lemur, and champagne.
Okay.
And if you're playing along at home, continue. You may. I don't know. So I'm going to finish what I was going to say about the rest of that research.
Okay.
Basically, they did say there's still some work to be done because there's some sense, I don't know much about this, but like when people have something traumatic happen and then they do that EMDR, that like rapid eye
Yeah. Yeah.
movement
Yeah. Right.
thingy, and that seems to help with making the traumatic memories less vibrant, I guess,
Right.
or like, but yeah, I think the thought is that truly repressed memories as were represented in these satanic abuse cases in the 80s are almost never real.
Huh. Okay.
And I think that, and again, I didn't do any research on this now, but it reminds me of the same sort of thing that they found that tends to be true with people with multiple personalities, that's almost not ever true as
Yes.
well. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. That's
Um,
interesting because I don't know. I wonder how many people have been falsely accused of
sure. I mean,
crimes because
you
of
can
this.
certainly look up like daycare providers, right, from like the
Yeah. Oh,
80s.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
I mean,
Mhm.
my one memory, because I mean, you're too little to have remembered any of that live, I would think.
Oh, no. Oh my God. So many Oprah episodes about,
Oh, okay,
well,
really?
not necessarily. I don't think they were necessarily talking about Satanists, but it was, I think, spinning off of that, all this
Hmm.
unnecessary panic about, what's happening at daycare centers, who is watching your children, lots of that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Hmm.
Um, my only memory of it is I was in the car with our grandma once, and she had the radio on some Christian station, and I
Hmm.
remember them talking about how the band Twisted Sister worshipped the devil.
Oh,
And
whoa.
and I retained that until I got, I don't know, probably my late teens, and was like kind of looking back at stuff about hair metal, and I was like, I don't think they were Satanists. I don't think the guys who do we're not going to take it. Like, I don't think Dee Snider is a Satanist at all. Um,
Did you
so
look it
yeah.
up? Is he?
He's not. No, he's
Okay.
not. Um, no, definitely not. Um,
It's
yeah,
a great song. I've been
it
listening to
is.
that a lot lately.
Oh, nice. It's
Yeah,
invigorating. Yeah.
it is.
Maybe he
Yeah,
wrote it about he's not going to take these accusations of Satanism anymore.
maybe. Yeah, yeah, I believe it.
And then I also wanted to tell you about my own little story of false memories. I
Mm.
think I accidentally had one created the other day. And it's a really benign situation. It's nothing bad at all. But I was like, I feel like my brain is such that I could like be very susceptible to this. So the
Yeah.
best thing I can do is not trust any of my memories super much like unless I write stuff down and it's right when it happens. If
Hmm.
I'm just like, oh yeah, that sounds familiar. Like, for example, me and Amanda hung out a lot in college, and sometimes I'll be like telling a story and she'll be like, you weren't there. And I'll
Oh.
be like, oh, I wasn't? Oh, okay. It's like I just heard her tell it so many times, I
Yeah.
start to picture I was there, you know? So like in those ways, I feel like
Yeah.
it's easy
Yeah.
for me to mix stuff up. And so this is super banal, but we're watching Taskmaster, and the contestants have to do a task where they had to figure out the magic word to pull a sword out of a stone. And the magic word ended up being Whitcomb, which is the last name of the first Taskmaster winner from the first
Mm.
season, Josh Whitcomb. And
Okay.
somebody said something about, well, what did he do with the sword or something like that? And there was some remark about him throwing a sword in a lake.
Hmm.
And I was like, oh, was there a task where Josh Whitcomb threw a sword in a lake or something like that? And I started remembering it. And then I looked
Hmm.
it up and there's no such task. There's
Huh.
nothing. Not at all. Yeah,
Huh.
there was no sword in the stone task in season one with Josh Whitcomb. But
Huh.
I just kind of misunderstood this remark and started being like, oh, I can kind of picture that. And I think my brain was pulling up other um pictures of like swords being
Right.
thrown in lakes. I was thinking maybe about Trogdor the Burninator a little, maybe. I don't know, with the throwing the baby. I don't know. And so it seemed real.
Huh. Yeah. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know this has happened before because I know that I have had the same experience as
Huh.
Amanda where you'll start
Ah,
talking about something and I'll be like, you weren't there.
yeah. I think it's like I have a vivid imagination and not the most
Yeah.
fantastic grip on reality. I don't know. So, I just watch it. I'm just watch
Yeah.
it. It's
That's
also
interesting.
why, like, after I saw the Demon Bunny, which you can listen back to our very first bonus episode in season one, where we talked about the Demon Bunny, the first thing I did was write a very detailed account of everything I saw in my journals and drew some
Oh,
pictures and stuff so that I'd be able to draw on that later and have it while it was fresh in my mind.
that's very smart. Yeah.
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 All right,
I actually,
oh, go ahead. Yes.
no, I was just going to say that I was listening to something. Shoot, I think it was maybe a podcast, but I can't remember which one or why. But they were talking about scary memories and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and how they end up being, not necessarily something actually scary, but that like basically the
Mm.
difference between, I know we've talked about this on here before, between like sense and perception,
Oh, yeah.
that
Okay.
your perception should not be called into question. You saw what you saw, but that it wasn't necessarily something nefarious. Do you know what
Okay.
I'm saying?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't remember what podcast that was,
Hmm.
but
Interesting.
mhm.
Would you like to try to repeat the words now?
So am I trying to repeat all of them or just the
Yes.
animals?
No, you are
All
going
of
to try to
them?
tell me every single word you remember me saying. Do
Okay.
your
Does it have to
best.
be in order?
That not at all. Does not
Okay.
have to be in order. Do your absolute best. That is key.
Okay.
Okay.
Elephant,
Yes.
giraffe, dog, carp, house, champagne, rocking chair, lemur. Hmm. That might be it. Let me think. Um, did I say elephant?
You did.
Carp? Did I say carp?
You said carp.
Lion?
Lion. Very good.
I think that's it. I think that's all I
Okay.
got.
Well, you remembered 6 of 7 animal words and 3 of 7 non-animal words, which were the
Oh,
ones you were trying to forget.
okay.
So
Interesting.
now, obviously, this could be animal and non-animal are pretty broad categories. It might be easier to remember animal words because you know it's an animal versus the others are just not. I just made this study up off the top of my head. Probably it wasn't very
Sure.
well designed. But the only animal you forgot was the sea lion.
Oh, the sea lion.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
And
was the
then
second one. I was
it
trying to make like a
was.
little picture in my head of all the animals next to each other.
Oh, nice. And
Darn.
then the other words that you forgot were tree, rocket,
Mm.
broccoli, and snowsuit.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yes.
Yeah, rocket is familiar. The others are not.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Huh.
just for
Cool.
fun to replicate that.
Yeah,
Or
I
not
like it.
replicate. I don't know. It's fun to do experiments here.
Sure.
Um, you got any other stories or anything else we should talk about?
I don't think so. What's up next?
Um, it is not called First Blood, which is what my brain is telling me. That's, I think, a Rocky or
We've learned
something.
you
Yeah.
cannot trust your brain.
No, I can't. No, it is Fresh Bones. I had the initials right.
Ooh, fresh
Um,
bones.
yeah, but I believe it is going to be one, and I could be wrong, but it seems like it could be one where we're going to be like, that hasn't aged well. It's got a Haitian refugee camp
Um,
and some voodoo, I think.
oh, well, it's maybe a good
Yeah.
one for the anthropologist.
Yeah, I think that'd be good. And then
Okay.
after that, Colony and Endgame. So
You,
those are conspiracy ones with
oh,
the
okay.
alien bounty hunter.
Oh man. Okay.
Yeah, I
Awesome.
can't believe he shows up
Awesome.
this early, so I'm
Yeah.
excited.
Oh, that's great. Well,
Um,
have we seen him? No, we've just seen something similar happen in the Red Museum episode.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
right.
No, this is
Okay.
if it's the alien bounty hunter I'm thinking of, it's the dude who kind of looks.
Oh yeah, I'm familiar.
Yeah, yeah. So okay, all right. So yeah, Fresh Bones is up next.
All right, awesome. Great. Until next time.
Week. Bye.